Fabulous. Well, it's great to have so many of you here today. It's a little bit overwhelming, but I'm sure we'll get through it. So I am Sandra, and I run All Aspect Media Limited, which is a digital marketing company. And I will kick off today with talking about Google. So I will just share my screen. I'm going to hide my little tabs of you all so I can see my screen a little bit easier. So if anybody has any questions halfway through, just butt in. Otherwise, I won't see if you've raised a hand. So let's. This is where we hope the internet doesn't break down on us. Okay, so unleashing the transformative power of Google Ads, and it does transform businesses. I have seen businesses go from small one-man bands to multi-million-pound companies, and that is no joke. Just to let you know about my relationship with Google Ads, I am a certified Google partner, which means that Google has recognized that I have generated sustainable growth for all the accounts in my account. I am on their partner advisory board, so they come to me and they ask whether anything is not working correctly, or whether there are anything that any functionality that's missing within the Google Ads platform. I've spent over £14 million, not my own money, in Google Ads since I started in 2018. So I've gained quite a lot of experience with how the platform works in that time. And as well as dealing with my own clients directly, I also white label for global agencies, which basically means I work behind the scenes and work on their Google Ads account while the client doesn't even know that I'm there. So I make them look good. Now, there's been a lot of talk in the media recently about AI and how it seems to be this new thing that that has just been developed, but Google has actually spent multi-million dollars on developing and refining its technology over the past few years. And it basically owns the internet now. If you're not on Google, you are not connecting with your clients where they are, your potential clients and customers. So Google owns Google Search, the display network, it owns YouTube, Gmail, and it also owns Android, which you may not be aware of. It bought it back in 2004 to 2005, I think. So it's got all that information. It's giving you all that information at a really, really low cost. So this image is one of Google's data centers, and it has hundreds of them around the world. And in that is where it stores all the little snippets of information it has about you, whether you like it or not. It's got that information. So it knows everything from your age, your gender, your household income, your interests and hobbies, your buying preferences. It amalgamates all of that information, and then it knows your intent. So it actually knows how far down the buying process you are, whether you're just looking at something because you're wanting to use up your time in your lunch hour, or whether you're actually ready to go ahead and buy that kettle or buy a lamp. So it uses that information, and then it can target you depending on which stage you're at in your buying process. So how does this influence our marketing? Or traditional marketing, you pay for your ads to appear in a newspaper, a magazine, or a flyer. Really, really difficult to know how well those have performed. So you don't know how many phone calls you've got from a £250 advert you've got in the local magazine, or however much it costs these days. It's been a long time since I've done those. Then there's pay-per-click, which is still available, still out there, and it does still form part of Google. Your ad can appear for thousands and thousands of ad impressions, but you only pay when somebody actually clicks on your ad and clicks through to your website. So it's a much better way to measure if your advertising is actually working for you and it's cost effective. Since pay-per-click was introduced, Google has revolutionized its AI capabilities, and it has now given us the holy grail of marketing, which is you pay for your results and not just for clicks. So this essentially means you can say to Google, I want to pay £10 for one phone call. Go and find me a phone call and I will pay you £10. Go and find me 2 phone calls and I will pay you £20. So you're no longer paying for each of those clicks. Google is going out and actually finding you because it knows your intent. It knows what stage in that buying process you're at. It will find you and you will make that phone call and a presto. This is when it becomes scalable. You can essentially go to bed at night, have your eyes closed, wake up in the morning and have more sales and more leads in your inbox because Google has gone out and found them for you while you've been catching up on your Z's. So this is what it can look like for a typical client. So for example, your customer might be worth, say, £1,000. If you're paying £10 per phone call, you might think, well, £10 per phone call is a lot. But if you work out how many phone calls you need or how many sales in order to get one paying client, in this situation, for example, we are converting 1 in every 3 phone calls or inquiries into a paying client. We're only paying £30 for a £1,000 client. And that sounds like pretty good value for money for me. So with knowing that information, you can then work out what the maximum is you can pay per client. And you can tell Google, I will pay X amount, go and get me clients for this much money. If you're e-commerce, the same kind of rule applies, but you can tell it, I want this much return on ad spend instead. So I might want 750% return on ad spend. I might want 400% return on ad spend. If I've got returning customers, quite often with e-commerce, you're happy to pay for that first customer. So that's just a 100% return on ad spend. And then you get your better return on ad spend when they repeat buy from you. So you're buying that customer, but getting it back, the value back long term. So this is what it looks like in the actual platform. You're basically just putting in a figure for Google for your return on ad spend or for your target cost per phone call, cost per lead, cost per purchase. In terms of targeting, it is immense. I don't know if any of you saw or who of you saw the Sky presentation a few weeks ago. I sadly missed it, but did catch up on it. So thank you for that. That was really interesting. It's very similar in as much as what Sky can offer, but I think it goes down a little bit deeper in terms of your interests and targeting. So you can target people that are in your local vicinity. You can target people in the local town by radius. You can target them by their parental status, whether they're married or divorced, whether they're homeowners. You can target them by what employment industry, and that's quite limited to certain industries, but it is there for some. The biggest thing for them is you can target by the interests and the hobbies. So anything from avid investors to luxury shoppers, from foodies to business professionals, and so on. You can target people by how they've interacted with your business. So this would be remarketing. So people who have visited your website, you might want to get back in touch with them. You might want to do specific targeting for people who have added a product to their cart and not proceeded with the sale. You might want to target people who have purchased certain products and say, hey, you might be interested in something else. So you can serve each of these people a different ad. You can also upload your existing customer list and you can retarget them via that. One that's quite good for businesses who are in the technology industry is you can target people by the device that they use and the operating system, even down to the actual phone type itself. You can target by what they're actively researching or planning. They might be planning a wedding, which would be great for somebody who said today that their venue might be turning into a wedding venue. You can target by life events, so if they're moving house, or if they are getting married, if they're buying a house, if they're about to retire or they have retired, if they're just starting a new business. And the one that I like the most is the competitors' websites. So you can actually target people who have visited your competitors' websites and say, hey, consider me. So it doesn't matter whether you are a B2B, B2C, or B2D business, there will be a way that you can reach your target audience on Google. In terms of measurement, basically every single penny is accounted for, right down to which ad, which keyword, which search term has generated a click, and which of those have generated a conversion. And when I talk about conversions, I'm talking about phone calls, form fills, downloads, purchases, anything of value that you have told Google, this is what I want you to target, basically. You can see how much each of those has cost you, and then you can work out whether it's actually cost effective for you or not. Several different bidding strategies. The old-fashioned manual strategies are cost per click, and that's where you say to Google, I will pay 50p, £1.50, £3 per click, and that's it. That's all I'm paying. Or you've got the AI strategies, and these are the ones that you want to be trying to look at using. And depending on your overall strategy, depends on which one you're actually going to use. These are the ones that are scalable, and these are the ones that take businesses to like the stratosphere and beyond. When it comes to auction time, so this is how much you pay and where your ad actually appears in the search results, or whether it actually appears at all. Google takes a look at a number of different factors, and that ranges from the ad relevancy. So how relevant is your ad to what the person that you're targeting wants to see? So is it relevant to the keyword, or is it relevant to the interests, that sort of thing? It looks at your landing page, so that's your website page that you are wanting to send people to once they've clicked on your ads. And it says, how relevant is this to what you're targeting and who you're targeting? It looks at how well the landing page is navigated. So are people finding their way around it well, or are they landing on it just disappearing straight away because it's unusable? Looks at your expected click-through rate, which is how often Google thinks that your ad's going to be clicked on. Looks at your bidding strategy, which includes your overall goals and your budget. Looks at all of those things, and then it compares all of those things to your competitors who are also after the same audience. And then it decides on your ad rank, as in your ad position, where your ads show, and how much you're going to pay to show in that position. Campaign types. So there are 5 main campaign types that we're going to talk about today. These are the main campaign types. There's a search campaign type, which you will probably all be familiar with, and you will no doubt all have used at some point in your life. It's probably the #1 campaign type for 99% of businesses, and it's normally the entry campaign type, the first type that people try when they move on to Google Ads. It's the highest intent in terms of leads and sales. And this is because it shows your ads to people at the very second that they're actually looking for your products and your services. And it does that by using keywords. Now, keywords are terms that you want your ads to show for. There are three different match types for a keyword. There's an exact match. So if we look at this example, an exact match keyword is lawn mowing service or grass cutting service. Your ad will show only to people who have typed in lawn mowing service or grass cutting service. And you can have as many of these keywords as you like. So it's very, very high intent. You then move to phrase match, which actually utilizes the AI power a bit more because it looks at the underlying intent of the user depending on what they searched for. So with that same keyword of lawn mowing service, your ad might appear for somebody who's searching for lawn mowing service near me, or hire a company to mow the lawn. So it's the underlying intent is the same as your keyword. Then when you move to broad match, it gets a little bit haywire at times. Now, broad match is the match type that Google is trying to get everybody to use as their default match type. Please do not use it if you are doing a campaign for the first time. Please use exact match and phrase match only. Have a look at the search queries because you can see what people are actually typing in, the actual words they're typing in. You can have a look at those and see which have triggered your ads. And if there are any search terms in there which you think, hey, that's not really relevant, it's gone a little bit off piece there, you can add those in as negative keywords so your ads don't show for those going forward. So you're honing the AI and you're helping it learn the right way to go. So it is all a learning process, but it does get there. So with broad match, with the same keyword of lawn mowing service, your ad might show for somebody typing in lawn aeration prices. So it's a vague association to what you were looking for, but it's not really what you're looking for. So for an example for this one, I would add in a negative keyword of aeration. The broad match keywords does have a much wider audience and it does work, but only when you've refined your account. Search ads are also brilliant ads to run because they make your ads, your paid ads, appear above organic results. So it puts you before your competitors. You might have an SEO ranking of #1, which is great. But when the algorithms change, and they do, you might find that suddenly your organic listing drops. You'll also find that if somebody else is advertising your same services or products in the same area, that your #1 ranking will suddenly drop to number 5, 4 or 5, because there'll be 3, 4 ads, paid ads above yours. So SEO is great, but don't rely on it to bring you in all the leads that you need because it is unstable in that respect. So with search ads, you can also dominate the entire above the fold area of a screen. And by above the fold, what I mean is when you first open up a screen, before you scroll down, that is your above the fold area. So this company, for example, has done it brilliantly. We've got a search term up top, we've got an ad appearing, and it's got some additional ad extensions on it, which you create in Google, which are links to other pages on the website that it thinks, hey, you might be interested in these. It also expands the size of the ad, takes up a lot more room, so a lot more other ads and organic listings don't appear above the fold. Underneath it, we've got their organic listing. And to the right, we've got their Google business profile, which used to be called Google My Business. If you haven't got a Google business profile, please get one. It's completely free. There's a link at the bottom of this slide, which tells you where you can get one. It shows, apart from obviously filling the screen more and dominating this section, it shows your website, your phone number, what your business is, your opening hours, you can upload blogs to it, and you can also show your Google reviews on it. So it all aids to giving you a really good presence. The search ads are responsive. So you give Google up to 15 headlines and 4 descriptions. Google then mixes and matches, and it learns from the results. So it learns which combinations work well, which ones get you the clicks, which ones get you the clicks and the conversions, if you have an offer that you think, hey, this is actually a really good point that I want all my ads to show, you can say to Google, pin headline 2, and in headline 2, I want you to say extended Christmas delivery returns. Makes sense. Extended Christmas returns, or anything you like that. And then that will always appear in headline 2, and Google will mix and match the other headlines and descriptions around it. You can use dynamic search ads, keyword ads, and location ads to mimic almost exactly what the user's actually typing into Google. And the benefit of doing this is that your ads will appeal much more to them. So you're more likely to get a click from it. So in this example, somebody has typed in fabric leather corner sofa, Dover. So the ad appears saying Dover fabric corner sofa range. Perfect. That's exactly what I'm looking for. I'm going to click on that ad. And that's the AI that can actually do that for you, by the way. Here's another example of someone who's not doing it so well. I've typed in 4-foot shed near me. The first search result here, so they've got a good position on the search page. The first one, their headline says, fast delivery sheds, pick a delivery day. Now, that I've searched for 4-foot sheds near me. That doesn't say anything about that. They have got a slight little extension underneath, like the fourth line down that references 4-foot sheds. But I'm not even going to see that because I look at the headline first. It's not relevant. I've been very specific about what I want. So my eyes glance down at the second ad down, which starts with 10x4 sheds, show site near New Milton. I'm going to click on that ad. So you don't have to appear in the #1 spot to win a click and get somebody through to your site. Your ad just has to be done well. Here's an example of how the AI can transform business. This is actually somebody in the aesthetics industry. And they were getting 30, these were phone calls, these were getting 30 phone calls a month, and they were paying £70 per phone call. Now that seems quite a lot, but their client value is actually between £500 and £1,500. They had a 50% conversion rate, so they converted about 15 out of those into clients. Once we got them on the AI road and put all of these steps in place, the number of conversions rose from 30 a month to 115, and this was actually August this year, August to September. And the cost per conversion dropped from 70 to £45. So it's made a huge difference for them. And their conversion rate is still 50%. So out of those 115 phone calls, they converted 50% of them. And I think I worked it out as a minimum of £25,000 worth of business, and they spent £5,000 on their ads. And that's all done by AI and by telling Google, go away and find me at this much money. So when do you use search campaigns? You use them if you have a service or a product that somebody is likely to be searching for, or if you're an e-commerce business. Do not use them if you have got a service that is brand new that nobody's heard of, because it's based on what people are searching for. And if they aren't going to be searching for you, it's not going to work. Display campaigns. So we've all seen these display ads pop up. They pop up on over 35 million websites across the Google properties, including Gmail and YouTube. The standard display ads look a little bit like this. You have to physically design at each of them. And I think there's about up to 25 different sizes that you need to create to fit all the slots available. Quite time consuming. And quite honestly, a lot of us haven't got time to do all the software programs to do it. So instead of that, Google has got intelligent responsive display ads, again, powered by AI. All you do is you upload some images that you like, that are suitable for your business. You give it a number of headlines and descriptions, and you give it a call to action. So in this case, the call to action is a contact us button. And then you say to Google, go away and find me some phone calls or some purchases. So then it redesigns all those assets to fit in all the different image size slots available across all the different platforms and all the different websites available. And again, it mixes and matches the headlines, the images, and the descriptions to find the ones that work best for you and for your target audience. When do you display campaigns? When you want to re-engage with your website visitors, why would you want to do that? Excuse me. You might want to highlight that you've got some great deals that they haven't potentially seen if they've only been to your homepage and they haven't gone any further. You might want to say, hey, you've checked out this range of products. You might like these new arrivals. You might want to say there is 30% off today if they've visited the page but not checked out. If they've added something to the cart, you might want to say, hey, free shipping, come back and buy. Display campaigns do work, remarketing campaigns do work when the targeting has been set up correctly. So that's when you have actually targeted your ad for the appropriate person. It is nothing more annoying than if you've just bought something from somebody and then you're served an ad from them showing you the same thing or giving you a discount for something you just bought at full price. So doing it correctly, you identify what stage your customer has reached at your website, and then you give them the appropriate display ad. You would use display campaigns if you want to raise awareness of your product and reach new audiences. So if people haven't heard of you before, or you've got a brand new product and you want to let people know about it. So for example, you've got a new training shoe, you can target people who are interested in sports and you can break that down into specific sports. You're a maths tutor, you want to target parents of aged children aged between 7 and 9. You are a financial advisor, you want to target people with life events, people buying houses or retirement and so on. Now YouTube is really quite exciting, and there's something in the chat. I'm just going to see that's me. Okay. Second. So YouTube is no longer just a viewing platform for watching videos. It's actually the second largest search engine in the world and has more than 2.7 billion active monthly users. So it is huge. Your audience at some point is likely to be on there. People tend to think that I can't possibly advertise on YouTube. I don't have the budget to advertise on YouTube. It's incredibly cheap. You can run a campaign for £5 a day. You can run a campaign for less than that even. Not recommended, but you can. When you see a video on YouTube, an ad on YouTube, yeah, it does give the impression that wow, this is a proper company. This isn't just a one-man band. You can really change how people perceive your business. If you're a local dress designer, for example, you want to show your encourage people to come and have a look at your dresses in your local store. You can showcase your designs to people who are in your local facility and who are interested in fashion, for example. There are multiple ad formats to suit your goals. So you've all seen them where you have to wait until it's played the whole thing, or you can skip them, or they come up at the side of the video that you're watching as a recommended video. If you don't have a video, it's not a problem and it's not an excuse not to test YouTube. Within Google, they have got template videos that you can use and simply upload your own logo, images, and text. And the image behind here is an example of just a few of them. And just to show you how easy it is, I've used the template, which is at the bottom left in orange, last night, and I created one in under 3.5 minutes. So bearing in mind, you spend a little bit longer on it and make it look even better. Under 3.5 minutes, and this is what was created. So I personally think that looks pretty good. I think it looks pretty professional. As I say, you could spend a bit more time on it and really hone in your message for your target audience. Shopping campaigns. Okay, so shopping campaigns, the results show along the top in a strip from your search results, and it shows the image, it shows the title, it shows the cost, and it shows the reviews. It's a great way to advertise your products because people have already quantified whether that product is suitable for them. So they're not likely to click on it if they think the price is too high or the title isn't quite what they're looking for. To appear on a Google Shopping, all you need to do is connect your website to Google Merchant Center, usually by an API. But some people upload a spreadsheet, but an API is better, which is a plugin basically. The plugin creates an automatic product uplift. So it will upload all your products, the prices, the availability, the condition, the sizes, everything about it will automatically upload. When you make changes on your website, it automatically changes the feed as well. So you've always got up-to-date information in your shopping campaigns. Now, the quality of your feed is paramount. It's the equivalent to shopping of what keyword match types is for search campaigns. So if you're running a shopping campaign and it's not working, it's probably because your data feed needs a bit of tweaking in the Merchant Center. So get in touch, I can go into that a bit more detail if that's you. When you hover over a shopping ad, it's also an opportunity for you to include little extra bits of information which you think might be of use to the user and might encourage them to buy your product as well. You can get free shopping ads with Google. So all you have to do is connect your website to the Merchant Center. Just don't go down the paid ad routes. Your products are all uploaded, and then Google will decide when and where it will include your product in its extended product listings. It's not as easy to optimize those ads as it is with paid ads, but it is free nonetheless, so worthwhile doing. Google's latest campaign type, which is the last campaign type that we'll look at, is the Performance Max campaign, and that is an amalgamation of all of its inventory. So your ads will appear across shopping, across search, Gmail, video, and you can see an example of what the different ads could look like across those platforms here. It is brilliant for e-commerce. So if you're doing e-commerce, run a Performance Max campaign alongside your traditional shopping campaign and just see how much better it does. Not so good for lead gen. So if you're a lead gen business, then don't bother with it just yet. It's still learning. There are 4 account types that you can have. There's a standard account, which is basically what we've been talking about today, and it will apply to 99.9% of people looking to do this. There is a local services account type, which is more for tradesmen. They've just started extending it for solicitors, estate agents, and your ads will only serve to people who are in your service area. So it gives you a little bit of advantage over people who are national companies, because it gives you preference if you've got a local services campaign. But as I say, it's very limited what services can use that campaign and account type. There is a hotel account type, which is for people who have offerings that they can buy and book online for hotels, and it shows the amenities, the prices and things like that. There is also a charity account. So if you're a registered charity, sign up for a charity account, because Google will give you, I think it's £700 a month, £7,000 a month at the moment, free for you to run ads on search. So that's well worth doing. If you are running ads at the moment, I have got 7 simple winning strategy changes to transform your business, your Google Ads performance overnight. Little leaflet on my website. There's a link on this page for you. Really simple changes. It's the main problems that I see on most accounts that I look at when I first look at them. And just making those simple little tweaks and changes can actually make a huge difference to the performance of your campaign. So there we go. The most advanced AI is at your disposal. Any questions?
Well, I was under strict instructions to hold Rob back, so I'm just waiting for Rob to start.
Let's give other people a chance to ask questions. I'm going to ask a question on behalf of Caroline Newton. Sorry, Caroline Day. Caroline Day, do you want to go first?
I've looked at Google Ads, and I'm always absolutely terrified by the amounts that it seems to cost, because the people who promote it typically turn over millions of pounds a year, and they say it's only £3 million a month. And I think, wow, you know, I wonder if you could comment on that.
Yeah, so I think you do need to have sufficient budget to run ads. I would say, generally speaking, don't bother if you've got less than £500 a month, because Google works best on big data. So it likes to get a lot of data in a relatively short amount of time, so 30 days. If you've only got £500 budget, and if you're targeting a large area or you've got a lot of keywords, then it doesn't have the opportunity to show you ads enough times to generate all the data that it needs in order to work well. So £500, £1,000 is ideal. It's always better to not drip feed Google. Give it 3 months to test it out to see if it works. Give it whatever budget you can possibly do in that 3 months. And in that 3 months, there are lots of things that you can do to hone into to actually reduce your costs. And that's looking at your website, that's looking at your keyword match types, it's looking at your target locations and things like that. So there are ways to make the most of your budget, but yes, you do need a minimum.
Thank you.
So the question I was going to ask, and it's on behalf of Caroline Newton, because Caroline already commented on what she does. She lets out rooms. Oh, sorry, she lets out a cottage in Lymington to by the week. But you know, the AdWords panel is quite a complicated thing for the small business owner like Caroline and many other people in this room. Do you feel that it is a panel that people can relatively easily manage their way through, or do you think they need a bit of training to help them along the way?
If you can, it's a difficult one. You can manage it yourself. You can, it is possible. If you want to, if you've got not a lot of budget, it's possibly worth getting somebody who knows what they're doing to set it up initially in the first place for you. So they set it up to be fully optimized, and then you can take it over and look after it from there on. You can get some instructions. Basically, all you'll need to do once it's up and running is look at the search terms and add the appropriate negative keywords in if you're on a limited budget. And actually, that sort of business works really, really well. I did have a company based in Lymington who rented out lots of different cottages, and yeah, they were booked. So it does work very well. It is a highly sought after industry, but if you're careful with your keywords, then you can use your budget wisely.
Yeah, that's a really interesting piece of advice, because where a lot of people go wrong is, as you've suggested, they get the setup wrong in the first place and then pour money into a black hole.
Yeah.
I'm sure anybody here would be advised to, or you'd make yourself available in the event that anybody wanted to contact you, Sandra, through your business of All Aspect Media to
Yeah.
assist them in that.
Yeah, no problem.
I've got a question, if that's okay. So I just wanted to find out, because obviously you mentioned, thanks for, obviously glad you enjoyed the sort of Sky presentation. And obviously there's lots of similarities and obviously work with businesses that use Google Ads, so it's really good to understand. So thanks for running through it. I just wanted to, there's a couple of bits, but firstly about the data. So when you've got people that are searching for terms, are these people that have to be signed into their Google account for that to then generate their profile, if you like? So they, or if I was to go onto a laptop that wasn't signed in necessarily, can it still work with that, or do I need to be signed in?
Yeah, it generally works by the device or their user accounts. Yeah, you usually find it if somebody is signed in, they don't generally sign out, so they're always signed in, and they will quite often link into their mobiles, and Google will be able to identify from looking at your IP addresses as well, so where people are actually logged in from, and match them to your devices.
Okay.
I've certainly seen, so for example, I'll do a search on desktop while I'm working, do a quick search on desktop, decide I'm going to finish for the day, go and sit downstairs, pick up my phone and start browsing, and it's definitely carrying across ads that are related to what I was looking at on the desktop.
Yeah.
Can I ask a quick clarification? You use the term B2D when you're talking about different business relationships. What is B2D?
That is business to developers.
Oh, right.
So you'll find, yeah,
You are
and
one,
you'll
Rob.
find a lot more of those out there now as well, because a lot of people are jumping on the AI bot bandwagon and developing their own bots to sell to businesses that they can use within their business. So it would appeal to people like those as well.
Okay. Anything else from anyone?
I mean, I'll ask. Sorry, I was trying to wait. I didn't know if people had questions. So I just wanted to ask. You mentioned about, because the cost was mentioned earlier. Is there a sort of typical? I know you said £500 or £1,000 or as much as you can kind of afford, really. But is there kind of a you find yourself, is there like an average cost that people generally spend?
It varies tremendously through from business to business and through different verticals. On some businesses, the cost per click, for example, is more than it is in others. So some you can pay 50p per click, and others it could be up to £20 odd per click. So for my industry, it's £20 odd per click. But as long as you've got the funds to start with, then ultimately your client worth is it will be worth it if you work out those key stats. So your client value, your conversion rate, and then how much you're paying. How much you're paying per client and per click, and it doesn't seem so bad then when you look at it as an overall figure. But generally, I say to people, ideally do it £1,000 because it does work better from that level. But they can do it less. The average. It's funny because people start at 500 and then they say, okay, go up to 750, okay, go up to 1,000, and they do actually gradually increase it as it starts to work, and they can start to see how it can work. So then they give it a bit more budget so that it can work a little bit better, and then a little bit better, and then a little bit better. And we have people who spend £30,000 a month.
Sorry, can I just ask a question just off the back of that, because that was going to sort of lead on to a question I was going to ask, because do you find that, and this is probably for many businesses, if you're in a competitive market and say it is you're renting out a cottage, for example, and there's lots of people in the New Forest that are renting out spaces, do you find that it ultimately will come down to who spends the most money in order to be at that top of that list? Or
no, and that's where it's quite exciting, because that's where you get to use your brain a little bit, and you can look at the website, you can make changes to the website, you can look at the overall ad rank, And if you've got everything spot on, 10 out of 10 for everything, then there's not much else you can do about it. You're great as you are, and you've got to pay what you've got to pay because the competitors are like that as well. But there are a lot of websites out there that are absolutely shocking, and they're still trying to run ads. So if you've got all your ducks in a row, you are actually going to pay less to appear in position 1 than somebody else who will appear in position 2, because your score overall is much better than theirs.
Right. That makes sense.
But I think I'm right in saying, Sandra, aren't I, that if you've got some particularly popular keywords, I'm in law, for example, so I know if you're paying for things like property solicitors in Southampton, say, there'll be loads of people, firms trying to do that, and you do get into a bit of a bidding war. So you do have to box clever a bit. And we found, for example, if you put conveyancing solicitors, it's cheaper. But actually, it ends up by doing the same thing. You're just coming into the same thing via the back door, as it were. So you have to play with the keywords.
You do, and you can have long tail keywords. So you could if your main keyword is too expensive, then you can just add a couple of words on either side, or you can even make it a plural, and that changes the price of it.
Yes.
So there's lots of ways around expensive keywords if you're struggling to pay for those to start with. And you can also have a look at so improving your landing page. So if you've got an expensive keyword, you can create a dedicated landing page for that keyword. Google is then going to say, hey, that landing page is amazing. This is exactly what somebody is looking for. It talks purely about this keyword. Only people who click on your ad will go to that page. It's what they're looking for anyway. And then you end up paying less for that keyword because your landing page is exactly what the person is looking for.
Plus, that landing page is going to develop a search engine position of itself, so it will help your natural search results too, won't it?
Yeah, so running ads does help your natural SEO ranking, because you're sending more people to your website. Google one and thinks, oh, hey, this is a really good website. People are really interested in this. So your organic listing is automatically raised.
But you also then have to keep your website up to date. So things like new content, regularly drip feeding new content onto it really helps with that kind of thing. You can't have a good website and then just let it ride, can you?
No, I mean, SEO isn't really my thing, but it does like to know that the website is still active and being used.
Yes.
So you don't have to do it, every week, every month, but just so that it's
expensive then.
Yeah. I mean, even if you just go in and change a sentence.
Exactly.
So cutting back to Google Ads then, but sticking with David, would you recommend Eric Robin Solicitors have a landing page for conveyancing services in Southampton and a landing page for conveyancing services in Lymington, or would you do some dynamic?
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. That is the best way forward for most businesses, actually, if you can create those landing pages.
Interesting. Joe, I noticed that you had your hand up a little while ago.
I can't remember what that was about, but it's all really super interesting. I kind of feel a bit like Sandra's almost underselling her skill set with this, because it's almost like the skills that you have in this, if a client were to harness that correctly, you could really target those ads, and it's just not a money machine. You still got to have a website that takes a customer on the journey to make the purchase. Otherwise, you're just driving traffic to your website and it's not going anywhere. So it's a big chain. But I just feel like, your expertise absolutely amazing for this kind of thing. So don't undersell it. Like, push yourself. You're doing well.
Oh, bless you. Thank you. That's really kind. I mean, it's quite difficult because we got a really short amount of time to try and squeeze in a kind of general intro, really. There is a lot more involved.
There's much depth to it, isn't there? Yeah.
I mean, you're both absolutely right, but of course it goes back to the point that Sandra made in the first place. A result here is getting the lead. The onus is then entirely on you to convert that lead, and it's of course that conversion that makes you the money, not the lead. Well, my watch is telling me that we've got 2 minutes to go, I think. So I think we've probably run out of questions now, or we probably haven't, but we've run out of time to answer them in. So Sandra, thank you very much for your talk today and your delivery of it. And if anybody has any queries, all they've got to do is Google All Aspect Media and they'll find you.
We
I don't
will.
know.
If there's enough interest, the same as we run social media training sessions with Becky Wade from time to time, if people are interested in sufficient numbers, we'll bring Sandra in and run a training session dedicated to Google Ads rather than poor old Sandra trying to fit it into 25 minutes or whatever it's been on here today. Indeed.
So on that basis, Rob, apart from turning off the recording, are there any dates or updates that we need to advise of